Hello, everybody, and welcome to the formal launch of Brandon Lunch Bunch, a group of folks in Brandon, Florida, who are getting together, sharing some ideas, tips, and expertise on how to do business in these stay-at-home Corona times. That's the quick of it. There's more info, or should I say, a longer explanation back at our soft launch last week. You can find that at Pacesetter Media. Go to Pacesetter Media, find the link to Brandon Lunch Bunch. We have the video there of our soft launch from April 15th. There's a little longer explanation of how this all gets started and what we're doing. The quick of it is, it's a group of business experts around the Brandon area, and we are doing what we can where we are with what we have. And what we have is this media. We can share ideas and give people tips on how to do business these days. We have a panel of folks. Some of them are not with us today. Some of them will be joining us other days. I want to do a quick round of folks who are with us today. And David Thornton just joined us as we got started here. And he on my screen is first. Are you ready to quick introduction, David? And we can't hear him, so we will pass it off to Darren as David figures out his. Darren, can you do your intro?
Well, absolutely. Good morning, and thanks everyone for joining us today. The Brandon Lunch Bunch. I'm excited and frustrated and worried and every emotion all together at the same time. As a small business owner, just trying to manage our way through this. My name is Darren Denington from Service with Style Hospitality Group. We're a restaurant coaching, secret shopping, training company that's been here locally in Brandon for about 22 years. And we're just trying to help a lot of our clients manage their way through this. So I'm excited for what I call the 7 steps to your comeback. I want to share with you a few simple tips and tricks today. Basically what you need to be working on now to make sure your business is strong when it comes back. So thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Thanks. Danielle, please.
Good morning, everyone. I am Danielle Dryden with Dryden Resolution. When there's not a global pandemic going on, I help individuals and small businesses resolve federal and state tax debts. As many of you probably know, the IRS is all but shut down right this minute, so I'm not doing a whole lot of tax resolution because there's no one to do the resolution with. But now is a great time to get in touch with me to get all of the paperwork and the process moving forward so that once the IRS is ready to go, we can hit the ground running and get your situation all fixed up. So, Danielle Dryden with Dryden Tax Resolution.
Thank you. And I just want to point out to everybody who's watching either live now or in the video after the fact, you see David Thornton is popping in and out. We are all having tech problems, even the tech guy. And coming up on this moment of starting, I was having significant problems with Mike. We're all in this. We're still struggling to try to get it all work. You're not different than anybody. You're doing okay just to get connected. If the tech guys are having trouble with it, we're of course, everybody else will too. We're all going through the same thing. Thank you. I'm going to go through a quick 5-minute segment on something you can do now, because a lot of people have downtime. I've got something you can do to fill some time that's productive and create some content for your site, and perhaps helps you with SEO. After that, we'll get Darren back in. He'll be talking, like you said, some tips on what you can do now. And Danielle will do a quick update on CARES or Families First Act and some of the legislation. So let's get started with that. I'm going to do a screen share here once I remember where to find screen share, because I've got a few things I want to show you. Are y'all seeing that? I hope so. I'm now sharing my entire screen. That's what I wanted. Now, there are on websites headlines, and headlines are important for humans. They read these headlines. Bill Wilkie is, in fact, on with us now. He happens to be one of our featured members from this group. These are headlines. This is a headline here. Up here, this is a headline. These are important for, in fact, this is a headline. This is a bigger headline than this one, even though it doesn't look it. These are important for search optimization. They're important for people to see too, but they play a role in search optimization. It's good to have these headlines loaded with keywords, not necessarily loaded, not overloaded, but with keywords. Keywords are those things people search on Google and elsewhere that you want to be found for. So you want keywords in these headlines. Again, Google uses headlines. And here's a way you can check. First, go to this address. It's validator.w3.org. And by the way, we'll be posting this link to the website at Pacesetter Media. So after the fact, you can get this link. Go to this link, validator.w3.org. Now I'm going to take this page I want to test, and it's brandonbizpros.com. I'm going to paste the address in here at address. Click on more options, show outline, and this is important. This show outline is what's going to show us the outline of headlines on your page, and click check. Now it's going to show some warnings or errors. You can ignore these. Anything that's a warning here, I have yet to be concerned with it. It's just a more or less anything, a note. And if it's an error, you might want to be concerned with it. For our purposes today, we're ignoring this warning and error section. Scroll down, headline level outline. This is what we want to pay attention to. Headline 1, headline 2, headline 3, they're stacked properly. But notice they have keywords. Brandon Networking Group. That's what we want to be found for. By the way, we're a networking group that meets Friday mornings. You're welcome to join us. There's an update, moving meetings online, and featured members. Those are decent keywords to tell Google what this page is about. Now we have Brandon Networking Group. We have the word meetings in a headline. We have members in a headline. And as it turns out, some featured members. And then an about Brandon Biz Pros and how to join. So this is where you look. Make sure these headlines have keywords that you want to be found for on Google. Now, how you edit your page or your headlines depends on your software. And here's the homepage for Brandon Biz Pros. In WordPress, you would edit headlines here, but it really depends on your site and how you do your site. I came here also to show you this. In WordPress using Gutenberg, that's the new editor, there is some ability to see your headlines. But there's some significant limitations. Notice this doesn't show all of the headlines that we saw here out on this validator, w3.org. It shows only those that are in headline blocks in the content of the page. Now this site, let me go back out to the site. This has content that comes from a different section of the page, not the main content. This content comes from a shortcode in WordPress. And WordPress doesn't show those headlines. That's why I like this validator w3.org. It shows all the headlines, the ones that are in the header, the ones that are in the footer, everything that's on your page, the way the public is seeing it, the way Google is seeing it. Now, that's the quick of it. I would also say, if you can, your headline should be organized like this, where we have a H1, only one H1 per page. That's a fantastic general rule for non-professionals. There's some reasons to have more than one H1 for now. Keep it to one H1 per page, the main topic of the page. Under H1 should be H2s. H3s should only show up as a subheading of H2s. And if you had H4s and H5s, they should be subheadings of H3s and H4s. Now, that organization is not super critical. Google says that's the way you should do it. It's not super critical for SEO, but it is one of the things if you can do it that way. I do want to show you this. I also have all of this info at Pacesetter Media. I posted this as a blog post today. The same info I just went over. In essence, the written notes are already here for you on how to do this. Go to Pacesetter Media, find the blog, and you'll get the details on how to do this in writing with a few screen captures. Now let me get back to where I'm going to say where I can see you, where you can see me. How do we do this? Stop screen sharing. That's how we do it. So that's a quick of it. It's something you can do now with downtime. You can at least check their headlines and start figuring out which keywords should be in your headlines. Do that today, do that in sometime this week. It could take as short as 15 minutes. If you have a big site and you want to go through all of your pages, that might take several hours. In the meantime, prioritize. Find your most important pages, your home page, your main product pages. Go through the headlines on those sites or on those pages and make sure you have keywords in the headlines. And that's the quick of my 5-minute segment. If we have any questions, we'll check that. And there are no questions, and that's perfectly fine. And I believe Darren was starting to jump in here, and as soon as he does, we'll pass it off to Darren for his tips for the day. Is there anybody out there? Here you go. Thank you, sir.
Well, thanks, David. Those were some great tips, and it's personally a project that we're doing here at the office is completely redoing our website. So we might be talking later this week. So that was some good stuff. So thanks.
For sure. Now is the time to do it. I'm going to talk in coming days. Content. Now is a great time to develop content. Whether you update your site now or later, content takes time. And if you have some downtime, good time for it. Okay. I'll pass it off to you.
So I'm looking at things in segments, and I'm trying to understand what's going on in the hospitality business and where we stay relevant and how we bounce back very quickly and to a strong company, right? Where were you 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, and where do you want to be in a few months? What we're typically doing is these 7 different categories, right? So the first one is timing. Every single day as a group here in the office and in my restaurant, we're talking about when we could possibly be open. I fully understand that we have no control over the timeline. The virus is setting the timeline, but we can look at it in 2-week spans. When the virus started happening and all the closures, we were in a 1-week plan, a 3-month plan, and our future plan. What we're trying to do with timing, meaning when you can possibly reopen your business, I want a 2-week time frame. So if you think you can open for May 1st, probably not likely. Let's call May 15th or June 1st. If you think May 15th is your date, you need a 2-week reopening plan, okay? You're going to be hiring staff and trying to market and reopening your business, whether it's the doctor's office or the restaurants or the hairdresser. We're going to have to slowly start to get reopened. So the timing that I'm looking at is whenever we pick that day, I want to know what we have to work on 2 weeks prior. So I've got my May calendar, right? And May 1st to the 15th is what we need to do to be ready to open, because reopening your business, your guests, your customers, your clients are going to be looking for a little bit of a wow factor. What have you been working on? And the environment's going to be a lot different. So timing is the first piece. The second category we're looking at is our customers and our clients, right? The people that do business with us. And we're trying our very best to stay connected with them, keep the relationship strong. We sent out personalized emails to all of our clients just last week. Simple hello, just checking in, hope you're doing well. And we received 92% of our clients sent back a warm wishes type of email. So there was good contact. They were checking in on us. So it was just such a simple, easy touch point. Now, the next step that we're doing for our customers and clients is we're going to survey them. We want to know what they're thinking about and what's going to be important to them when they come back. So we're going to try to understand what our customers are looking for, and we're going to do that through the form of a survey. Now, part of what Service with Style does is surveying. So if anybody out there listening wants a free customer survey, just email me. We'll completely set it up. You send it to your customers just to get to gauge their temperature, what they're looking at, and how they're thinking about things. The third piece is the dollars, right? We look at the financials. The PPP obviously hit a major snafu with running out of money. That's going to affect a lot of businesses. And if it does or doesn't affect you personally, the people you do business with are probably going to be affected by it. So there's got to be a financial component to this every single day. Understand what little cash you might have coming in as a business, or maybe you just completely shut things down. You need to know when you're going to need funds coming back. You're going to need to have a short-term budget that literally could be changing regularly. There's a lot of major decisions to be made with employees and more layoffs. The dollars drive those smart decisions. So if you're staying on top of your budget, then you can start to put it into your comeback plan so that you know where your money is going. The fourth piece is now about your business model. If you were doing business for 3 years, 5 years, 22 years, what was working in the past? What wasn't working? This is the perfect time to make some hard decisions before you reopen. If you're the local restaurant or the local hairdresser, what kind of model works? Were you open for breakfast and it was never profitable? Well, I would suggest you don't reopen for breakfast. If you're the hairdresser and you want to add in nail services or massages, is this now the time to look at it? So take a really serious look at your model and start to think about what the people are going to want coming back. That lays you right into the next category, which is your products and services. What do your customers want? The tricky part about this is we don't fully understand what changes are going to take place after the virus. Everybody's going to be thinking and acting differently. So try to forecast where your products fall into line with a new type of environment for business. Take a good serious look at the products and the services you offer, and you should be looking at adapting those now. The next piece is staffing. Staffing, I can tell you this is an area that at Service with Style we deal with a lot. We had a seminar that we were rolling out this year, and we were scheduled for about 15 different presentations of total team makeover. And to me, everything's about the leadership team and your management group and how they lead the people. Well, that was fine and dandy 4 or 5 weeks ago. When we reopen, the entire labor market is going to change. You might have staff that have been working with you for a few years or a lot of years. They may now be looking and saying, is this right for me to go back to the job that I always had? Is there other opportunities out there? If your business was formatted on great people, you need to be having one-on-one conversations with them. They need to understand what your plan is, what you're thinking, when you might be able to bring them back if you laid them off. They're trying to answer questions for themselves. Am I going to lose my job? Should I start looking elsewhere? So when we start to reopen, there's going to be a lot of hiring, and unemployment, it is a massive number right now. So the whole labor market is going to drastically change, and just make sure that you're holding on to those key people and you've got a plan in place for how you're going to rehire and build up your business. The last segment is marketing. Marketing, promoting your products right now is strange. Any type of salesmanship, I feel very strange when people are selling you right now. So it's got to be done properly. Marketing has to be looked at now so that when we do reopen, your message is ready. So on the marketing standpoint, it's much more for 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks down the road. When you can start to market, you have your marketing materials ready. The biggest component that we're trying to do is talk to our team and keep the projects going, work on the things that you just don't have time for in your normal days, but you really want to put some effort into it now. Those are the websites and the big projects, and a lot of the restaurants we work with are doing small renovations and redoing their decor and moving some equipment around in the kitchen. So take the opportunity now to make sure your plan is in place so that you can bounce back really strong. So if there's any questions out there, I'd love to answer them.
No questions.
Okay, I'll
Thank
turn
you
it back
so
to you,
much
Dave.
for that. And at this point, those are our two top segments for the day. I believe Danielle has a quick 2-minute update on some info on legislation.
So many of you, hopefully many of you, have already started to see your stimulus payments direct deposited into your bank accounts. If you haven't already, I would encourage you to check your bank account, make sure that it's not there. And if it isn't, head over to irs.gov. There's a get your payment tool that you can use to enter your banking information. Hopefully you're one of the lucky ones where the tool actually functions for you. There are a lot of people where it isn't, it won't let you get to the second page, not because of a website error or a timeout. It's just that the IRS, for some reason, can't determine eligibility. So it's everyone's favorite message that's popping up right this minute. So you can use that tool. The other thing is, Darren mentioned the PPP loans, the SBA running out of money to fund those loans. I wanted to quickly mention, and I'll talk a little bit more in detail about this on Wednesday. Hopefully, more information comes out between now and then. Over the weekend, our government had a quick little meeting and decided that they do need to further fund that particular program, the Paycheck Protection Program. So they are currently working on putting together legislation. Rumor has it, truly is a rumor at this point, it is, it's been reported obviously by Wall Street Journal, New York Times, et cetera, et cetera. So that it's relatively good information that has come straight from the House and the Senate floor. The bill is looking like it will add between $300,000 and $400,000 more specifically for the Paycheck Protection Program. So if you're already in line in a queue with your bank for that program, I would stay there, and I would possibly contact other lending institutions to see if you can get in their line as well. There's no harm, no foul with applying through multiple different avenues. So I definitely want to get yourself in line. So that's my update. Like I said, I'm hoping that I have some more solid information by Wednesday when we meet again. It's looking like there may be a vote by 2 p.m. today, if not, hopefully by tomorrow. So we'll see what happens.
Thank you. And David Thornton, are you able to come in? Let's see if we have sound now.
I am. I was having a few technical difficulties.
Yes. I am glad you did. And I had some earlier too, just to show everybody's having technical issues, even the tech people who had it set up correctly an hour ago, and then suddenly it doesn't work now. So let me turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. So awesome job from Darren on some things to think about as we start to kind of transition back to, in real life interaction. Looks like my audio and my video aren't really syncing that well, so bear with me. The one thing I would add is that look at where you're spending your money. We all have to have internet for our businesses, but that doesn't mean we have to spend extreme amounts for that. If you're currently with Frontier, I know you should be concerned about the information last week about them filing Chapter 11. So you might want to take a look at Spectrum or other options for your area. If you have other options for your area, it might be a good time to take a look at your bill. And if you're not under contract, see if there's a way that you can save money by switching. A lot of times for those of us that have two options, switching back and forth sometimes every couple of years actually gives us the benefit of not only having them update your equipment, but also giving you a better pricing because you're a new customer, and they all often offer better deals for new customers. So I would say keep that in mind as you're right now while you're on downtime. It'd be a great time to take a look at ways that you can lower your overhead when you go back to full work. So, and then with that being said, I'd like to I think we're going to be in the next few days, I'll be doing a bit more of a deep dive how to protect your remote employees from clicking on wrong links and things like that. So, and I'll shift it back over to Dave.
Thank you. And that just about wraps it up. I just want to bring up one thing, one final tip. But I also want to get ready for what's next. What is the next one? That's what we want. Because look what I have. And since this is a visual medium, I'm going to lift these up close. And we can also experiment now with how good my camera is for showing a product. But I have these weights. And my final tip, and I think I'm going to end every one of these with a tip on how to stay a little bit active. Get some weights. I have lighter weights. I have heavier weights. Stay active. I've been working out of my home for 20 years. And it's easy to get up, sit down, sit all day, then go to bed at night and end up doing nothing physically all day. So stay active. Build into your routine some amount of activity. Go to YouTube, look up some dance moves you want to learn, and get up and learn some dance moves or stretching or anything like that. By the way, if anybody knows any dance instructors that want to come in and do this at the end, a quick tip to stay active, and then we'll end the business part of it and let that dance instructor do a quick tutorial on a dance move people can learn at home. I would love to have that. That would be a fun way to stay active and build that into this. So stay active, get some weights, learn some stretching and some calisthenics at YouTube. Stay healthy as we go through this. And our next one, next Brandon Lunch Bunch is this Wednesday, April 22nd at 11 a.m. Oh, look at the tech problem I have. More info, Pacesetter Media isn't centered. Again, we're all going through this, trying to get it to work. Join us then. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you Wednesday, April 22nd at 11 a.m. Thanks.